All right, we're live for another Real Talk Tuesdays, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. My name is Justin Messina alongside Rob Shepard. Rob, how are you tonight, brother?
Doing great, man. How was everything with you?
It's good. Good night to be on. And we're starting the series tonight on going holistic. So just what are some of the misconceptions? What are some of the things we can do to move forward into like holistic life journey? And really what is holistic living? And there's so much out there now, nutrition and fitness and so many different angles that people take, so much information out there that's even conflicting. So we wanted to make this series to really just get down to like the very important details of it and make it as simple as possible, because it can seem very complicated when it can actually be a lot simpler than what's out there. So to get started, I just want to say, Rob and I are both holistic health coaches, and we do things slightly differently. But we'll get into that towards the end of this hangout, which is going to be about 20-25 minutes. And to get started, we'll just jump right into this. So the first point that I want to make here is that understanding how to make a change in general, not just a holistic change, and it comes down to what is our current state, right? So where are we right now? And in understanding that does a few things. It keeps us in reality of where we're actually at in our own lives, versus where we might kind of more like fantasize where we're at. And then from that point on, when we think just about holistic changes, when you think about things like your taste buds, right? You're going to have a certain level of taste, types of tastes based on what you eat. And it's said that it's about 2 to 3 weeks that you can completely change your taste buds based on what you're eating during that same frame of time. So what you can do is actually start to, it's sort of like conditioning, but you also, I think, when with the overexposure of different sugars, artificial flavoring, even salts, like you can really get to a point where you've really desensitized your taste buds and you're not really tasting food as much. And that's why so many people have problems, tasting different greens, or they eat something. I remember one time I was with my niece, and I had this sort of like it's health food shake, and it's one of the sweetest things that I ate in my diet at the time, and I gave it to her, and she said she didn't taste it at all, and this like shocked me, um, before I really thought about it, because one person could be having something that's really like a really intense sort of flavor for them, another person could not taste it at all. So that's not just an individual type of thing. That's highly based on what they eat on a daily basis, right? So, but it's important to note that, because just a couple weeks can completely change your taste buds. And what we're going to go through in this whole entire series is really what are the differences between what people do on a short-term basis versus what people do on a more extended basis. Another one of those things that we'll dive into is cravings, because cravings have a lot of misconceptions about what are really cravings. We can easily kind of fool ourselves into thinking these like falsities about what exactly do I need ice cream. If I really feel like I want ice cream, does that mean I need it? If I really want popcorn, what does that really mean? Because a lot of times what people do is they'll get into a diet and they'll want these things and they'll feel like it's wrong, but they still want them. So, what for most people, wherever you're at, it's easy to say, okay, well, I really need that ice cream. So you're doing something against what you want if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing on the diet. So that's just a little bit of a starter. Rob, I'd love you to jump in there, brother, and we got a lot to cover in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, so the biggest part is what most people struggle with is that S word, sugar. And it's like, sometimes I'll get a question where it's like, so what do you do when I have that sugar fit? And people ask like, how do you solve that problem? Because that's the biggest part. And I always try to like explain to them that you utilize, smoothies with, put honey inside of it just to kind of help you with that sugar taste bud, and make sure that you kind of, drinking your water, things like that. But I mean, it's the biggest part of the struggle. to make that decision, like Justin says, that it takes 3 weeks, 21 days to 3 weeks, and you go through that changes to change your taste bud, because it's always a, I can't give something up. It's so tough for me to do it. How do you do it? But it comes with making a decision. And once you make that decision and find your why, like why are you going to do it? And once you make that decision and you commit to it, speak to yourself, speak it to existence, get yourself a buddy that you can at least say, hey, you know what? I am going to make sure I don't eat any form of shellfish anymore, or I'm going to not eat pork anymore. And then once you kind of say to yourself, that person can help you, like hold you accountable with moving forward. So that's just my views in how to kind of get there when you're trying to make that change. Don't try to do it alone. Get yourself a buddy system.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge, like having the support. And I think there's three main reasons why when people try to like start a diet that it really fails. And number one reason I think is that most most of the frame of mind around the mindset around going on a diet is that it's a source of a deprivation. People come from a place of like, oh, I'm going to be deprived for whatever length of time that I'm on this diet, and it's automatically set up as a struggle, and it's not something that's enjoyable. It's not something that is like a lifestyle change. It's based around deprivation. The number two reason I think is that it's people are seeking a result, but it's so tied. What they're doing is so tied to the result that they really don't give themselves any room to like really, again, enjoy any part of the process, and they are not thinking about in terms of, I'm going to make this part of my life, and this is going to be a source of happiness, a source of joy, instead of the opposite. And the third part is really what you were touching on, Rob. I really feel that having the support around you so key. Having systems in place that make things easier rather than harder. A lot of people try to fight through and just push through things that are already in their lives that are going to make it so hard for them to make the change. Obviously, that if we're doing things a certain way in our lives, we need to make efforts to change the conditions around the changes we're making. Because if we're used to like personal example, if you're used to going out to Applebee's once a week, going out drinking three times a week, and you're doing all these types of things, you're hanging out with people that do the same thing, and all of a sudden you're just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna like go to a nutrition school, learn how to take care of myself and think better and have a clearer mind. Then that's not going to just happen. And even if as hard as you push through, unless you try to change who you're hanging around, change the conditions around your life, in your circumstances, your environment, it's going to be so hard if you're just going to try to push through in the exact same set of circumstances that you landed on, in the lifestyle that you're currently living. So huge. But I think we'll actually talk a lot more about that as we go forward through this series, because we're going to be talking about more about like how to commit to this and do it in a way where you can actually like enjoy it and it's not like a source of pain. Yeah, I definitely there's hard times, there's hard work that needs to be put in, but you can definitely enjoy it too. It doesn't have to be a source of struggle all the time. Like sort of, I feel like that's sort of the messaging out there in the media. It's like, you go on a diet, you do this, it might seem kind of cool, but you have to have the right tools, you have to have the right people around you, you have to have the right sort of systems in place so you can move forward effectively, or else it's really not going to work. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, you're going in and out, but I could kind of pick up on what you're saying. I think your system is going in and out. But the thing is that's the biggest part is change. I was sitting down, I was just kind of thinking about it, how it's like, sometimes you get a person say to me like, how is it, how do you make those changes? And so I started to put some notes down, and I want to kind of go through it a little bit just to kind of help. And this is the biggest part. I think it's not that it's not that folks don't want to make a difference and make a change in their lives. I think it's difficult. And I remember growing up, and I used to look at something and say, oh my gosh, why can't this person just change? But then I realized that change is not an easy process. And I commend anyone that trying to take that step and trying to get there. And I commend the ones who are even thinking about it, because you know what? At least you have it in your thought, and you want to make a change, but just need that little push. I saw last night. I shared a picture with a young lady. I think she's like 40 something, almost going in her 50s. And I mean, when I say outrageous energy and in ridiculous shape, I mean ripped, chiseled. And I shared her picture, and a few people commented below and said, "What is her secret?" And I didn't wait for she to answer this to answer what it is, because I just felt it's something I could have answered, and I knew she would applaud me for doing it. And I responded back to it, and I said, her secret is a decision, commitment, dedication, and hard work. And instantly she responds and says, "Rob, that is my secret and that's my ingredients." You answered right to the T. Because I think sometimes when we look at someone, we're just thinking that there's an easy way out. But she shares a lot of videos, and you're seeing her workouts, and you're like, wow. And then for ask what's her secret, we already seen it. So with that said, I kind of wanted to go through a few things and change. Like, oh, when we're looking at making change, so I made a few notes, and it says, deal with change. We have the right to isolate acts as any kind. We may not make isolated errors, or hit up on isolated truths. Rather, do our ideas or values, our yes and our no's, our ifs and our buts, grow out of us with the necessary, with which we tree bears fruit, related and each with a affinity to each, and evidence of one will, one health, one cell, one sun. I mean, that's powerful. And it's not an easy task to make that change. So but when you're thinking about it, it has to be a process. And remember this. Take baby steps. Don't jump, don't go vegan, straight vegan. Don't do it. It's not going to work. You're going to crash and burn. Don't go vegetarian, because don't do it right away. You're going to crash and burn. Start through an elimination process. And that piece of it will kind of do baby steps, because as you go along, you start with your growing process, because you start feeling good. You start realizing that, whoa, wait a minute, this is good. I'm going forward. Like, I did a couple of things. When I went vegan, it took me a while to go to a certain level. Now I realize, you know what? I want to start eliminating salt and start cooking with different ingredients to bring the salt out within your food. So those are just some couple of things and change, and a couple of things I wanted to throw at you again. It says, as human beings preparing for the 21st century, we have to ask ourselves a fundamental question: can we effectively adapt to change enough to survive in the future? Think about that for a minute. I mean, we have to, because there's just so much going on now that it's a must. And it says, if we have the intellectual and moral integrity, we have to answer the question with some eviction, some conviction within us, various degrees of skepticism. Can we change? Yes, we can, but we have to be willing to change. And a couple of things that helped me along the way. Even now, I mean, who do you know that goes on a nutritional reduction of being in great shape during an holiday? But I have a support system that I follow. And when I see the progress of them, I'm like, I want to go more. So always find people within your niche, people that doing things that you're doing, people that want to go the places that you're going. And you're going to always have some form of motivation. Back to you, Justin.
Yeah, that's it's so true. And it's a huge thing, like in this age, like we in the last, like, 10, 15 years, we've learned more than we have like in entire like human history. And that's like the founder of Google said that quote. And it's it's so important to realize that, going forward, the information that we want to have is not as relevant as what's going on in our own minds, what's going on in our own ability to make changes. And um, the the most important thing to do to actually like start on this path is to understand that what our real goal is to like find our default and break through our default and work towards creating a new default. So what I'm talking about when I say default is, how do we what are we going to fall back onto when things get rough? What are we going to move forward with but then what's already in place to make it comfortable for us to fall back to? And if you're going to make a change, we have to push through this period where things seem really difficult. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of force on you, from different people, from different things that you're just used to. And if we can break through this period, we can create a new default. So, and it happens not all at once, it happens in stages, right? So we might, that's why what Rob's saying is so key about making small changes one at a time, because it's not about what you're eating tomorrow, it's about what have you sustained, weeks, months down the line. So if the only thing you can do is to cut back a little bit of what that you're maybe putting in your body that is not good, if you can do that and then start to sustain that, now you can build on it, and you can also feel the sense of, this is, I'm getting somewhere, I'm taking some steps and it's working, and I'm like, I've made it into my new habit to do something less or add in a good food, and you've actually sustained that habit over time. That's going to be a lot more powerful than just saying, okay, what's my entire diet plan that I'm going to change tomorrow, and then try to do it all at once, because it's really not going to work. I mean, I've never really met anyone that's done that hasn't already gone through a ton of changes in their life where they already know the process of it and they can quickly do it. But that's why it's so important, because if your mind can start to operate on a level where you can make the change, you can make the change, you can make the change. Now you can start to do it in different areas of your life. And the first couple times that you do it, it's so powerful. And I know Rob, you can attest to that as well. Like, it's so powerful when you can go through the change and you can press through it, and you could be on a year, 2 year journey and actually see a massive amount of growth, and you kind of know what it takes. You know what it takes to go through that, and now you can do it in other areas of your life. It's so amazing.
Oh, major. And the thing is when you're feeling good, and like Justin here drinking his water. He drinks his water all the time because you know what? He feels a difference with it. And when you're feeling good, you don't want to go back again. And I mean, I know I ask, I get a lot of questions on how are you Jamaican and you don't eat escovitch fish, you don't eat brown stew chicken, you don't eat any jerk pork. And it's when I answer that question, people look at me like, "Are you kidding me? You decided to go vegan and you're Jamaican?" But you know what? When I started and I feel the way I felt, I was like, "Are you kidding me? I wish I'd done this when I was in high school. If I'd done this when I was in high school, I would have probably been playing some professional ball somewhere, soccer somewhere along the line, because the energy level now, it's like I'd probably be, I mean, not trying to be over the top, but probably one of the fastest track star out there on in the high school team. But now I'm 40, 42, I should say. I still have my speed, but because I eliminated those things and decided to go more of a holistic lifestyle. And holistic lifestyle comes with planning. I mean, do you have a holistic plan in your life? I mean, when you say holistic, people may look at it as, oh my gosh, it sounds like it's crazy, but it's holistic living. That comes with peace. That comes within your relationship. It comes with so much that that give it a whole vibrantness of you. And it's the pains you go through in the beginning to get the comfort. And it's more of, people may say, okay, well, it's hard. Well, guess what? It is hard being in the hospital too. It is difficult. I mean, I was there with my mom last week, and I mean, it's like thousands and thousands of people. When I look back in there, I'm like, how do people just do this? How do you just don't make that change and be here like it's okay, I'm waiting for the doctors to fix me, or I'm waiting. It was just like, whoa, I seen so many cancer patients, and it just makes me just ask God to heal them. Give them the spirit that they need. Give them what they need to make that change. Because I know it's not easy. It's difficult. I'm at work. I see bakery. I walk by. There's samples. You know what? I found myself to grab a piece of sample. But I found decided, what, I'm going to make a decision, and I'm not going to grab that sample anymore. Because yeah, your arms may look good, your chest may look where you need to be, but then certain things started going out of whack. Because why? We have a saying in Jamaica said, every little make a muckle. So you either can go a little towards your goals and dreams, you will make a muckle, or you can go a little by tasting the bad foods, and guess what? You're gonna make a muckle in the bad areas. So it's just how you have to just kind of look at it and just make that decision. So the voice out that we're gonna be getting out to you guys is commit, make that decision. We're here. I mean, when I said how would it nice to have like a person you can pick the phone up and say, you know what? I'm struggling today, man. I need that cake. And the person that said, you know what, you need a cake. Do you have a blender? Get yourself some fruits, throw in 3 scoops of protein, some ice cubes, some honey, and blend that bad boy up. It knock that cake taste right out of you know tomorrow. And that's just the type of stuff. That's why you need a body system. And habits change, it will happen. You just have to want to do it. So that's what we're taking this series going for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I think it's going to be an awesome topic because it's not something that's being done where we can really help you and you can also ask any questions and we can really make a big difference within your life. And I know you'll thank us for it.
It's great stuff, Rob. And yeah, we're getting a little low on time now, and I just want to kind of share kind of a closing thought, I guess, and that's around just like, we're never gonna do anything in our lives that we're truly gonna not want to do repetitively. So when it comes to making changes, just ask yourself, am I really happy with where I'm at? And is this really me? And I think from there, you can sort of fill in the blanks for yourself why you truly want to go through this, and what it will really mean. Because a lot of times the best part of what our lives can become, we don't really see that. And that's where faith comes in, faith in just the sense of believing in yourself. And when you can really believe in yourself to go through with it, you're not going to get to a place where you're going to stop and you're going to say, oh, you know what, I'll just keep doing what I always want to do. And it can be tricky, but if you could break through the initial few obstacles and really keep going, there's a whole lot more than what you can even imagine waiting for you beyond. Like everything that I've ever experienced, and I find this with so many other people as well, like when they experience a little bit of change and they keep going with it, what's on the other side for them is so much bigger than what they ever imagined would be there waiting for them. And what seemed like sacrifices from the life that they're in, where they started, was not really sacrificing at all. It was just something to hold on to, something that was, really in your mind about where you're at and where you don't want to leave. You're just comfortable with where you're at. Like you're in your comfort zone to some degree, and it can be so powerful to just move forward. And like I started saying, that like the bottom line of all this is you're not going to ever do anything you repetitively won't want to do. So realize, holistic changes is not about pushing yourself to do something that is something you don't want to do, or something that's going to deprive you of happiness. It's something that, you push through the change, and the process of change is difficult, but the actual where you're actually going is not what's difficult, and that's not what's hard or makes you less fulfilled or less happy. It's somewhere that's going to be awesome, but it's just, in that process, you're being molded, you're being changed, you're being like kind of like sculpted, almost like a piece of art. And at the other end of it, it's going to come out and it's going to be a beautiful picture. So, with that said, I think we can wrap up now. We've got a lot to go with this series. We're going to talk about commitment, talk
Yeah,
about hard work.
just couple close
Yeah,
out,
sure.
and just want to give a couple of things and just habits. I mean, as far as the best way to change your habits is to control the environment. I repeat this again, and I think this is going to be a huge takeaway from this series, from this topic here, is the best way to change your habits is to control your environment. If you're not going to drink and you don't want to drink, try not to be around folks that drink, because it's going to tempt you to drink. You know what I mean? If you're not going to want to eat bad food, try to be around people that eat healthy foods. So it's just one of those things where you just have to change your environment when you're going along. There's just one way to radically change your behavior, radically change your environment. That's just, I mean, you can't bar none. You can win. Most of us would like to think that our habits follow our intentions. The truth is that one of the mind's shift function is to spot the utilized patterns of shortcuts. Ain't no shortcuts, ain't no quick pill. Think about that. There's no, yeah, you can take that I see a berry pill. But you know what? It can be a help. But you gotta get out there, you gotta run, you gotta exercise, you gotta do things to go along with that. We're more relevant to our environment to trigger what we like to think. Our mindset is one of the big pieces. We think it, we follow it, we instill it in our subconscious mind, and we can make it happen. All right, so you just always think of your habits, what you're doing on a daily basis. In one study conducted on the habits versus intentions, researchers found that students who transferred to another university were the most likely to change their daily habits. That's just an example. They also found those habits easier to change than the control group because they weren't exposed to familiar external causes. So look at who you're around, look at where people are going. I know I love to connect with fitness folks on Facebook because they empower me, they encourage me. Yeah, I'm a health coach, but I like to see Justin out doing his work, or I like to see Justin getting down doing some abs. And I say, oh, you know what? I need to go do my abs too. We all have our downtime, but when we surround ourselves with people that's going the same direction as we're going in, it helps us to get to where we're going. So that's the last that I have. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Much love.
All right, Rob. How can people find you, brother?
You can find me at shepherdfit.info, and it's www.shepherd.info. I'm there hanging out all the time. And catch me on Facebook at Rob Shepherd 72.
All right, brother. And my name is Justin Messina. As you know, justin-messina.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/therealmessina, Twitter @JMessLife. And with that, this is just the first part of this Going Holistic series. So we'll be back next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for another Real Talk Tuesdays. I'll talk about committing to a holistic lifestyle. And with that said, like we end every single hangout, live vision fit. We're out.
We're out. Boom.